Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your daily Bible class. Listen to what James says in James chapter 1, verses 1 to 6. He says, "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of your misery that's coming on you. Your wealth has rotted and the moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver have corrupted. Corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mowed your fields are crying against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fatted yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you." What James is saying here is this. He says, your wealth and those that rely on wealth are going to pass away. His simple exhortation is this: do not, under any circumstances, put your confidence in the riches of this world. We live in a society that is all about money, all about capitalism, all about self-indulgence, self-reliance, getting the best out that we can at the expense of others. We have a phenomenon that is only recently developed in the last 30 years, and that is Lotto 649 and Lotto Max lotteries. And it's all about getting something for nothing. How many times have we heard people in our offices or around us, maybe family members, who've said, "Oh, if I could just win the big one. If I could win that $50 million, that $10 million, that $1 million, my life would be fabulous." The truth of the matter is, if you put your confidence in the things of this world, with the wealth of this world, the prestige of this world, the popularity, the fame of this world, it will sooner or later pass away. And Jesus put it very succinctly when he said, "Do not store your treasures on earth, but do that in heaven." Because the treasures on earth, well, the thief can come and steal it. The moth can eat it away, or else it can be corroded by the things of this world. He says, lay your treasures in heaven. You see, James is making a very succinct point, and his point is this. He says, all the things that you have done are going to come back, and you're going to reap them in spades. Whatever you sow, you will reap. That's what Paul said in Galatians 6:8. He says, "Do you not know that what you sow, you will reap? If you sow to the flesh, you reap to the flesh. If you sow to the Spirit, you reap in the Spirit." There's the law of sowing and reaping. So it's very important that you keep your eyes on the right thing. Now, James was very, very, I would say, straightforward when it came to the rich people. He said, stop oppressing the people around you. He says, pay the people that work for you the proper wages. Treat them fairly. Be a person of integrity, because sooner or later that's going to come back upon you. And it says here, he says, the cries of your harvester have reached the ears of the Almighty. You lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence, and you fattened yourself for the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. He was being very blunt and direct. Do not in any way oppress people around you, because sooner or later, that which you sow, you will reap. So it's very important that today we look at our hearts, because where we put our resources, where we put our time and our talents, is where our heart is. If you keep your eyes focused on the things of God, if you make the things of God your priority, when you decide to lay your treasures in heaven, when you choose to look at others the way that God looks at them, when you look at them in their distressing disguise, when you realize that you have, and everything that you have has been given to you as a loan by God. You're a manager of God's grace and God's mercy and God's love. I've met some very generous people, and so have you. I knew this one man that was very, very wealthy, but was extremely generous. When someone came to him, he would help them in any way that he could. And God just kept blessing him. And the more he gave, the more he got. And he didn't give so that he could get. He just wanted to be a blessing. He was storing treasures in heaven. You and I need to have the have that mindset, that we would give our time, our talents, and resources over to God, that we would be managers of God's grace. And when the opportunity comes, that we would minister God's love. Maybe today God's going to bring someone across your path that'll give you a chance to show some grace, to show some mercy, to show some love in the same manner that you have been given. So store your treasures in heaven and not on the earth, because James has some very strong words against storing self-indulgence and storing treasures on this earth. They will pass away. They will fade and they will be destroyed. And if you follow them, you too will be destroyed. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a great and godly day. Thank you so much.